Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Namaste and good afternoon to you all. My name is Sangeeta Neupani, Vice Consul at the Consulate General of Nepal, New York. On behalf of the Consulate General of Nepal and Pacific Asia Travel Association, New York Chapter, I would like to welcome you all to this Reimagine Yourself in Nepal. This event is jointly hosted by the Consulate General in collaboration with the PATA New York Chapter and Chetri and Associates on the occasion of 75th anniversary of Nepal-US diplomatic relations. Distinguished guests, before we further proceed with the program, may I announce the names of the distinguished guests who are present with us this afternoon so that we all can recognize you. You may raise your hand or stand up if you wish. His Excellency Amrut Bahadur Rai, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Nepal to the United Nations. His Excellency Alexander K. Hardin, Regional Director, U.S. Department of State, OFM, New York. Mr. Jobert Apulencia, our co-host, President of Pacific Asia Travel Association, New York Chapter, and CEO of US Orient Tours, New York. Ms. Vanessa O'Brien, mountaineer, speaker, and author, and today's keynote speaker. Dr. Seth Sekrop, Associate Professor, Tracker, a travel writer, editor, and today's guest speaker. Attorney Khagendra GC from Chetri and Associates. Likewise, we are equally delighted to have with us prominent and influential media representatives, travel writers, travel and business executives, and university students. Mr. Alp Ozman, Airlines Business Leader and Manager of Turkish Airlines, New York Office. Ms. Catherine Hill, PATA Vice President and CEO of Remote Lands Travel. Mr. Naveen Chetri, Attorney from Chetri and Associates. Mr. Arnie Wiseman, Editor-in-Chief from Travel Weekly. Dr. Adal Hussain, Chief Editor, Travel Channel, World Liberty TV. Mr. Kishore Panthi, Editor-in-Chief, Khaso Khas News. Mr. Gokul Shrestha, Nepal-US Journalist Association, Northern Region Coordinator. Mr. Noah Riefenheiser, student, Ultimate Frisbee player, Buffalo State University of New York. Mr. Mukesh Dhawan, Vice President of GTT Global Air Business. Mr. Irin Shino from Panorama Travels. Mr. Huji Uji Artku, President and CEO of Picasso Travels. Maybe he's on the way. Mr. Mommar Bhijia, Executive Director of Asian Journal. Mr. Luis Maravi, Membership and Programming Director, US Tours Operators Association. From the Consulate, myself, Vice Consul Sangeeta Neupani, Consul Mr. Ganesh Adhikari, and Consul General Mr. Vishnu Gautam are present in this program. To facilitate our program and record it, we have DJ Mr. Jangbu Sherpa and videographer Mr. Sambhu Muktan from Muktan Digital Studio. Before I request the Consul General for his opening remarks, we will present a video on Nepal. Now I would like to request the Consul General Vishnu Gautam sir for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Program Director. Your Excellency, Amrit Bahadur Rai, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Nepal to the United Nations. Your Excellency, Alexander K. Hardin, Regional Director, OFM New York. Mr. Jobert Apolencia, Chairman of PATA New York Chapter. Honored guest speakers, friends from media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste and good afternoon to you all. It is my distinct honor to welcome each and every one of you to this special event, Reimagine Yourself in Nepal, hosted in partnership with PATA New York Chapter and Kshatriyan Associates. Thank you for giving us your most valuable time this beautiful afternoon. I thank PATA New York Chapter Chairman, Mr. Jobert Apolencia, for his collaboration and Attorney Khagendra Jishi for his generous support to this program. As we are observing the 75th anniversary of the Nepal-US diplomatic relations, on this occasion, I extend greetings and best wishes to you all, and through you to your family and friends. Nepal-US relations are cordial, warm and extensive, and they also enjoy warm people-to-people contacts and exchanges. US contribution to the development efforts of Nepal are successful and very highly impactful. Nepal accords top priority to the friendship and connections with the United States and to its people. The growing US business and visitors to Nepal, and also the growing Nepali diaspora community in the US, are equally contributing to these connections and complementing each other's efforts and developments. One more occasion this year to celebrate is the 70th anniversary of the first ascent of the Mount Everest. We will also be celebrating this historic occasion by observing a great moment in the spring later. Distinguished guests, to speak of this program's theme, Reimagine Yourself in Nepal, I wish to say a little bit about it. It is a call to prospective travelers to think of Nepal from different perspectives besides adventure, exotic, and sightseeing. The journey to Nepal can be a watershed experience and a path to personal development or a new awareness of possibilities in oneself and in the world. It is also a call for thought to find new meaning and purpose of travel and target communities, such as realized from the achievements of Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay Sherpa and other personal record holders. It is also a call to think of the impact of climate change and ways of preserving the snowy mountains and people's livelihood that depends on it and continuing the travel. Tourism brings people together for shared prosperity and happiness and also promotes collaboration and connections. After a long, painful wait, tourism is back and moving towards full-scale recovery. In this backdrop, this program is also an effort to contribute to the efforts of revival of tourism, recovery of lost jobs and business growth in source, transit, and destination countries and the communities. With its long and cherished history, rich natural and cultural heritage and diversity, Nepal is among the best and safest travel destinations in the world. Tourism is our major potential sector for socio-economic development. Before the times of COVID, tourism used to contribute between 6 to 7% to our national GDP, and it used to support over 1 million jobs, direct and indirect. But due to the pandemic, many people lost their jobs and business. Therefore, full recovery and growth is vital for the development of the countries and for the community and for their empowerment. Whether in culture, nature or cuisine, or places like Kathmandu, Lumbini, Karnali, and Kosi, or places like Upper Mustang and Dolpa, once forbidden places, Nepal's history tells stories of over 2,000 years of living civilizations and also as an ancient center of great learning place. We often hear people speaking of pagoda-style temples in East Asia. The root of those arts are deeply connected with the tradition of Kathmandu arts and architecture. They were spread trans-Himalayan region some 800 years ago. by a delegation of Nepali artists led by Araniko or Enige, who was the greatest architect of Nepal. Distinguished guests, promotion of tourism, culture and people-to-people contacts are very close to our development priorities in our national efforts. With a view to revive the tourism sector and make it a main pillar of our development and inclusive and sustainable goals, the government has prepared a strategic plan of action with the concept of tourism decade 2023-2032. The action plan gives top priority for the conservation and promotion of natural, cultural, and man-made heritage. It focuses on making Nepal a better, safer, and first-choice country for travel and welcome over 3.5 million tourists a year by 2035. Government's new policies and plans have rekindled hope of advancing investment in tourism. All-round efforts and matching investment will also be put in place at all levels of government for expansion of tourism infrastructure and supporting facilities. The vision also aims to create over 1 million new jobs in the sector by the end of the decade. With our national efforts, international collaboration, and goodwill from friends like you all, we are hopeful to achieve this target. In 2022, Nepal's tourism recovered by around 51%, less than the global average. And we welcomed over 600,000 tourists by air route only. And from the United States, interestingly, over 77,000 tourists visited Nepal last year, which is a recovery of over 80%. Therefore, we are very hopeful that the trend will continue and expand and grow very well. From a survey, we found that the most of the travelers who visited Nepal visited for the purpose of recreation, trekking, mountaineering, adventurous games, spiritual pilgrimage, and meditation. And there were some cultural and cuisine visits as well. In air connectivity and tourism facilities, we have achieved milestones by adding 2 international airports. Gautam Buddha International Airport in Bhairava, near the birthplace of Lord Buddha, which is operational from last May. The newly built Pokhara Regional International Airport, the 3rd international airport in Nepal, has also come into operation from January this year. These new airports will substantially help in reducing pressure on Kathmandu Airport and directly link Nepal's major cities to international major cities. Trekking trails and hotels and homestay facilities are also being improved and expanded and grown. The Great Himalayan Trail and the Helambu Trail are also well progressing. We are connected with major international cities and flights, especially those that are dominating the Asian and South Asian skies. The Turkish Airlines, Qatar, Emirates, and other airlines are connecting Nepal and the United States and other countries, and they are narrowing the gap. Nepal has lifted off all COVID time protocols. On-arrival visa facility at entry points is restored. Now all foreigners fully vaccinated are welcome in Nepal without PCR test, or in case unvaccinated, they can travel with the negative test report of PCR. To update you a little bit on trekking thing, Nepal Tourism Board has revised the procedures of trekking information management system teams effective midnight tomorrow, April 1st, 2023. Now all trekkers are required to obtain services of licensed trekking guide, either single or in group trekking. And they are to obtain those team cards through government-registered authorized trekking agencies only. Free independent travels have been closed. This decision was taken to ensure the safety and security of all trekkers trekking in protected areas in the mountains of Nepal. The revision followed a series of discussions with the trekking expedition stakeholders and relevant trade unions in Nepal to mitigate the adverse incidents like getting lost en route, health issue, and natural disasters. If we look at the past incidents, those last trekkers were free independent travelers. Now, with this new provision, the trekkers will have immediate access to professional support system, and it will also help in rescue operations if needed. With the renewed confidence, Nepal is open and is keen to welcome even higher number of tourists from the United States and other countries. Tourism connection is one of the best ways of consolidating our relations and further expand and strengthen people-to-people connections, as well as business growth and support the communities and empower the people. Therefore, I wish to invite you, your family and friends to Nepal, and through you also request to all yes, travelers and travelers from around the world to choose Nepal as their preferred travel destination. In conclusion, I look forward to hearing your views and suggestions to make tourism connection safer, better, and even more appealing. I also wish to hear your views to make Nepal-US relations even more stronger, warmer, and supportive to each other's goals. The views of our prominent speakers, media, and travel business are equally important for us to continuously enjoy, support, goodwill, and confidence of travelers from the United States and other countries. With these words, distinguished guests, I invite you to enjoy the lunch to be served shortly. I thank you, and I beg your pardon for my sore throat. I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would request for the opening remarks of Mr. Jobert Apulincia, our co-host for this program. I also wish to give a brief introduction of the guests and speakers. Mr. Jobert Apulincia is the current president of Pacific Asia Travel Association New York chapter. He is also the CEO of US Orient Tours New York. He is a successful businessman, business group leader, our great and trusted friend and partner. I think he does not need much introduction, as he also collaborates with other consulates for similar efforts. Now the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Honorable His Excellency Amrit Rai, Honorable Alexander Harden, Regional Director, OFM, New York, and Konjen Vishnu, thank you very much for the opportunity of giving and cooperating with PATA New York chapter. What is there still to be said about Nepal? All you have to do is visit. Reimagine yourself in Nepal. The only way you can judge the country is by going there. I can tell you a lot which other speakers would say right now, but the main difference with Nepal is what is inside the heart of its people. This is the most important thing. It's not the sight, it's not the sound, but the hospitality of the people. Unfortunately, I missed the first trip that I should have done to Nepal, but I sent somebody who was very capable of promoting the city. And I'm glad I did it. Konjen Vishnu, thank you for exerting this extra effort to promote your country. And I assure you, PATA New York chapter, with the officers that are around right now, we confirm our deep cooperation in the promotion of Nepal. I will not say more, I will not say less. It's just go and reimagine yourself in Nepal. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite guest of honor, OFM New York Regional Director, His Excellency Mr. Alexander K. Hardin, for his brief remark. His Excellency Mr. Alexander K. Hardin, Regional Director of the U.S. Department of State, Office of Foreign Missions in New York. He has been serving as the Regional Director of OFM's New York Regional Office since August 2022. Mr. Hardin is a U.S. State Department Foreign Service officer with over 20 years of experience. He has already served in London, Tokyo, Bangkok, Manila, Prague, and Washington, D.C. In his current role, Mr. Hardin has been focusing on strengthening the partnership with OFM and the foreign diplomatic community in state and local governments. He has been encouraging our efforts to promote Nepal-US relations in other respective mandates. The floor is yours, Your Excellency.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the introduction. First of all, I do understand that I'm standing between one of the speakers standing between you and lunch, so I'll keep my remarks to about an hour and a half. I'm kidding. About a minute and a half. But anyway, I would like to wish everyone a good afternoon, and of course to all of our distinguished guests here from the various business communities and the diplomatic community. His Excellency Ambassador Amit Rai, pleasure to meet you, sir. And I particularly wanted to thank the Consul General of Nepal, Mr. Vishnu Gautam, along with the Pacific Asia Travel Association, New York Chapter Chairman Opulencia, for the invitation to today's event. So as a U.S. diplomat, I think I'm one of the luckiest people in the world. I can say that I'm truly doing my dream job. And one of the reasons is essentially that I have a deep and abiding affection for travel. I actually spent a few years in the travel industry prior to becoming a U.S. diplomat. I'm also very interested in all things international. Of course, good food at a place like today is wonderful, but also international cuisine from wherever. And I'm really lucky enough to get to work with everyone in the international diplomatic missions here in New York, including Nepal, of course. And I have to say that from our perspective at the State Department, for those of us who are stationed here in New York City, we have been very impressed with the Consul General and the work that he's doing. His very small but dynamic team is doing a fantastic job on all things promotion of Nepal, both working with his communities as well as working with us and the rest of the diplomatic community writ large. So I am the director of the Office of Foreign Missions, and again, it's sort of a dream job. I have the opportunity to stand here in New York City. I get to work with all of the consulates. I get to work with all of the UN missions. So here in New York, I work with approximately 410 different diplomatic organizations, as it were. And so it's really a wonderful opportunity for someone like myself to see the organizations that stand out, like the Consulate of Nepal, who are really trying to do their best to promote. So again, thank you for the opportunity to be at this event especially. So the Office of Foreign Missions, in a nutshell, I like to describe our job as building the stage upon which all of the diplomats can dance, if that makes sense. So we are the folks from the State Department that are here to sort of make sure that everything is operational for all of our various UN missions and consulates. We make sure that the diplomats have everything that they need as best we can. We make sure that everything is sort of coordinated amongst the interagencies with the City of New York, with the Mayor's Office, all of those types of things. We deal with issues of reciprocity, with protection of US foreign policy issues, a wide variety of things, but our primary focus is to make sure that all of the various consulates and missions have everything they need here in New York. And I think it's a true testament to see when everything is coming together now that we're in sort of the I'll call it the post-lockdown period. Various organizations, various diplomatic missions are really getting out there, and this is a great example today. So I appreciate, again, the opportunity to interact with everyone. As I said, as the Consul General said actually previously, I'm very happy to be here in particular because this is America's 75th anniversary with diplomatic relations with Nepal. I guess we're getting into 76 years this year, so we'll count it that way. So one more year of positivity there. But and I think it's really been marked by the friendship between the American people and the Nepali people, and it's truly been a mutually beneficial relationship over the 75 years that we've been together on the diplomatic realm. Now, as we get into the 76th year of U.S.-Nepal diplomatic relations, I look forward to sort of even more optimism, even more success in the next few years. I think that events like this and events sort of that promote the things from the environmental perspective as well as the tourism perspective, the economic development, and also the development in the country itself are wonderful opportunities for us all to get together and work toward a common goal of improving both of our countries. From the United States perspective, of course, we'll continue to support Nepal in achieving its goal of sustainable and inclusive economic growth. We'll help to bolster Nepal's climate resilience through innovative programming and partnerships. We have a lot of programs in Nepal, such as the Peace Corps, the Millennium Challenge Corporation, USAID, and others. And those individuals are working alongside Nepalese experts who really understand what's happening in the country, and we will do whatever we can to assist them and help them to move forward. Finally, working with civil society, free media, and government, our countries will continue defending democracy, strengthening the will of our respective peoples, and in particular, developing the economic side of things, which I think many of you here are probably most interested in as we get back into working with tourism and travel. And I will certainly do my best to support the consulate and the UN mission so that they can carry out their duties and in turn support the work that you all do as it relates to Nepal and its people as well. So I think we'll all look forward to seeing the successes of Nepal that are yet to come, and we'll do our best to support from here in New York as well. So minute and a half, maybe a little bit more, but that's it for today. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Excellency. Now, I would like to request the guest of honor, His Excellency Amrit Bahadur Rai, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Nepal to the United Nations, for special remarks. We are delighted to have the graceful presence of the guest of honor, His Excellency Mr. Amrit Bahadur Rai, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Nepal to the United Nations. Ambassador Rai has served in various positions in the Foreign Ministry back home and in foreign missions of Nepal. Prior to joining the Permanent Mission of Nepal to the United Nations, is the Ambassador and Permanent Representative in 2019. Ambassador Amrit Sir has served as Ambassador of Nepal to South Africa from 2015 to 2018. The floor is yours, Your Excellency.
Good afternoon and namaste. So, no free lunch, yeah? So you have to listen one after another speaker. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. My dear friend, Consul General of Nepal in New York, Bishnu Gautam, and Regional Director of Office of the Foreign Missions, Alexander. Thank you, Alexander, for being with us. And ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and namaste. Some very well-known faces from PATA chapter. First of all, I'd like to thank our colleagues from Consul General Office in New York and PATA New York chapter for jointly organizing this event for the promotion of Nepal's tourism. Much has been said about the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Nepal and the United Nations. I don't want to explain and bore you, but I just want to say that Nepal really values its relations with United States of America, and we are grateful that the development cooperations and other forms of support that Nepal has been receiving from decades, and that's very important. And particularly, when Nepal is trying to graduate from its least developed countries category to the developed middle-income countries, we really value the enhanced level of support from our all development partners, including the United States of America. That's what I really want to emphasize. Regarding Nepal's potential in tourism, much has been said by my friend Consul General, but let me add few words. Nepal offers exquisite experiences. That's why I think he coined reimagine yourself being in Nepal. So experience of the nature and culture and adventure. And visitors can get lifetime experience of vibes emanated from the divine union of nature and culture, so rarely exist in the world. And panoramic Himalayas of Nepal, also known the third pole. Why it is third pole? Because there is the third reserve of snow and ice, other than the North and South Pole. So hosts the tallest peak of the world, Mount Everest. The high mountains of Nepal, including Mount Everest, are ultimate destinations for the endurance or the fortitude of humankind. And in addition, there are tremendous species of flora and fauna that will guarantee the visitors wilderness experiences. And our culture, which retains the originality of antiquity, is a treasure of human civilization. And throughout the year, there are some cultural events and performances. So every other day, which mesmerizes visitors. When you go, and you will, of course, be there middle of the celebrations in the city or in the villages everywhere. Those who are interested in rejuvenation of mind and body through spiritualism or meditation or yoga, as well as taste of ancient history and archaeology, they will find themselves in a unique place where they are in Nepal. And adventure seekers will certainly have thrilling experience of mountaineering, trekking, and so many other exciting activities. And the culture is guided by the principle or philosophy, we call it Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and the all peoples around the world is brothers and sisters, and also the guest is God, like that's also our philosophy. And our friendly people will serve visitors with warmth and a smile. They really, smile means it's not a fake smile, it's a genuine smile. I mean, and they really treat visitors from the bottom of their heart. And we promote ecotourism for sustainable development. In one hand, visitors get their best value of their each dollar spending on the vacation. On the other, our community will also have their livelihood from hosting the visitors in their own natural home. So we call it homestay. And from that experience, the visitors will experience the real life, how people are living in the villages of Nepal. I believe such promotional activities immensely helpful in boosting up Nepal's tourism by attracting and facilitating peoples to visit Nepal. And I wish the continuity of such friendly bonds of continued cooperation as well as collaboration between Nepal Consulate and PATA New York chapter for years to come. And I thank each one of you for being with us this afternoon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Excellency. Now, Attorney Khagendra GC from Chetri and Associates, Fordham University School of Law, and his LLM from Columbia University School of Law in New York City. His successful handling of cases has earned him a good reputation. He is a member of several prestigious legal organizations. He is also the president of Columbia University Alumni Association's Nepal chapter. Now the floor is yours, sir.
His Excellency, I think we just left Amrit Rai, and His Excellency Mr. Harding from the Foreign Mission of the United States government, and Consul General Vishnu Gautam, and distinguished guests. Actually, I'm wearing a little different hat today because although in a different profession, but this is what I love doing also sometime, because we are Nepali in USA. We call ourselves as non-resident Nepalese, and actually diaspora community. And I have been working in this field for the last 2 decades, seeing Nepali community growing in the US rapidly. Now there are over 500,000 Nepalese actually in New York area. You'll be surprised, and also throughout the USA. So there were times when Nepalese were endangered, especially in the United States, in the sense that it was hardly you could find a Nepali. Now you can find them everywhere. So this has changed so much. So that has also helped to exchange ideas with the host country like the United States and the people here. And they have done a lot of cultural exchanges. We have Nepalese ethnic communities in different parts of the United States where they try to teach about Nepalese culture. We have a small country, but we have so many cultures. Each community members have different culture. They have their own way of doing things. So we try to share that with the host country. And actually it has been working pretty good. And that has also helped for tourism to go to Nepal. And I was also fascinated by the government of Nepal that has recognized the non-resident Nepalese to go back to Nepal and serve in Nepalese in different areas, except politics, by the way. So, so that's the key situation going on right now. We are working in that direction, and basically Nepalese community in the New York and other places, what we try to do is every year we try to go back to Nepal, at least take care of family, or maybe take your kids, tell them about Nepal. Whoever has gone back to Nepal with their kids, their kids have gone back. And that has been our experience. I'm looking at my friends' kids and myself. My son is here, he's a lawyer, but he goes to Nepal. He loves Nepal. So basically what I'm saying is that the growing community and as well as our efforts to bring tourism in Nepal, that is the main, I think, objective that diaspora is playing a role in that. And I was also talking to some of our friends today that I want to share some personal experience that I don't see any tour packages for Nepal in the mainstream tourism sector here. If you want to go to Nepal, you have to find a small, scale or somebody, Nepalese or some other small travel agency marketing for one trip to Kathmandu or some kind of places. Mount Blanc is a very small mountain. I have been there. But if you compare to the mountains in Nepal, it's amazingly, I was thinking that was bigger than Nepal until I went myself and saw that, Mount Blanc. So therefore, I think, we can, I'm requesting and urging all this travel community, try to put together a package that includes Nepal. I was talking to Ms. O'Brien there. She was saying that, you don't have to climb the Mount Everest, when you go to Nepal. You can climb small mountains or go to trekking. Still, you have a lot of things to do in there. And Nepal has, changed in terms of the development and communication, but only in the main city. But outside of Nepal, it still remains the same. You will see the same natural beauty and the attraction and all of that. So I think Nepal has great places to visit. So, I think we have a great way of saying in Nepali called Atiti Devo Bhava. Every tourist or guest is a god. That's what we treat. So I think we are going to keep that echo, and continue to, actually that what we say is we practice in Nepal. So we still have good hearts and we still do the same way even if we are here, and we still try to go to Nepal every year. And thank you very much for coming here on this occasion. I think it is very important that we have 75 years of relation with the United States of America. I was in my one of the program of Socialist International, and I met a lady from Israel. She was a former president of the Israeli, some major political party, and she said, "Oh, Nepal, your country is the first country who recognized us, before 50s sometime, I don't know the exact date." So this is a very important that we have such a big, long relation with the United States. And also, this is the, I think, 17th year of the climbing of the, Mount Everest by one Nepali, Tenzing, and the Edmund Hillary. And they have done a lot of work in Nepal in that area. Our mountains are melting because of climate change. So I think we also need to focus on that. And maybe you can give, that what we are going to have a real problem in Nepal. So I think I will not take any more of your time. It was a good opportunity to come and meet you all. And I saw some of the old friends also. And thank you so much. And I think that's all I have to say. And hope to see you. And maybe if there is any way we can help you, if you want to go to Nepal, we'll be glad. We are always there to make any kind of contacts, any help you want. You just heard that the Nepal government is starting giving a mandatory tour guides to go to the outside of Kathmandu. I think that is a good idea, because even I get lost, sometime in Nepal, when you go outside. So that is very important. So thank you very much. Thank you for organizing this program. Our Consulate General has been very, very gracious and very effective in this area, promoting Nepal. And I'm very happy to join here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now, our next speaker is Mr. Alp Uzman. Let me introduce. Mr. Alp Uzman, airline business leader and manager of Turkish Airlines New York office, who has been doing great job in connecting Nepal and the United States through aviation and people. We had also organized a program last year in cooperation with him. His business is one of the largest connectors for travelers between Nepal and the USA. Therefore, I would like to invite Mr. Alp Uzman for his remarks. Thank you.
A few things about Turkish Airlines. We've been in this country since 1988. We are a 90-year-old company. And right now we have, no, I don't need the microphone, it's a small one. So I just can't handle the microphone, okay? So I like to do it this way. And since 1988 we are actually flying from the US to Turkey. Our hub is Istanbul. We have 13 gateways in the United States, including New York and Newark. We also have Boston, Washington, Chicago, Atlanta, Miami, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Houston, Dallas, and we are adding Detroit, actually, this year. And after Detroit, we are adding Denver. As far as our relationship with Nepal is concerned, we've been flying to Kathmandu since 2013. And right now, we have 3 flights every week to Kathmandu, and we are planning to increase the frequency, actually. Speaking of which, and I was just mentioning it to Consul General, that we are actually planning a FEM trip to Kathmandu this fall. So we are actually doing a lot to support the travel to Nepal, and hopefully we will get some traction from that FEM trip as well. We are doing it with Taj Hotels, in partnership with Taj Hotels. So hopefully it's going to bring some more recognition to a great country like Nepal. Our hub is in Istanbul, so every flight you see on Turkish Airlines network will have to go through Istanbul. It's a hub and spoke system, obviously. And the airport in Istanbul is, as some of you may have heard, that it's a new airport. It's been opened since 2016. It is a big airport, so those of you who are in travel business, please make sure it is really big. So if you have connections in Istanbul airport, you need to leave enough time between 2 gates, because it may be a little challenge if there is, especially like older people, children, whatever the case may be. In addition to that, a couple of products that I want to mention. We have a program called Stopover Istanbul. Okay, so if you are flying economy, we'll give you 2 nights free. If you are flying in business, we'll give you 3 nights free in a hotel in Istanbul. You don't have to pay a penny, and all you need to do is go to Turkish Airlines website, do your booking, get your voucher. Of course, you will have to stay in Istanbul for that period of time. It's not going to be your first connection, but you will have what we call the forced connection. But it's all on Turkish Airlines. If you want to stay longer, actually, you can use our wholesale rates. You don't have to pay the rack rate to the hotels. And we also have another program called Tour Istanbul. If you have a shorter layover, say 10-hour, 11-hour layovers, sometimes you have those long layovers, you can take advantage of this tour. It's a guided tour, by the way. We have 7 different programs varying from 6 hours to 12 hours in length. So we give you a bus, basically you're in a bus, protected environment. You have a professional tourist guide, and then we give you either breakfast or lunch or dinner, depending on the time of the tour. It's all on us, by the way. The idea is to promote Turkey, promote Istanbul, so that if they are there for a few hours, it's just going to be like a teaser. You know, they will want to come for more. That's the whole idea. And it's been a very popular program, by the way. We've been thousands of people actually took advantage of it already. So if anybody is in this business of sending people to overseas, I think you should know about this program. Other than that, we have what we call the exclusive drive program. That's for business class passengers. Within a 35-mile radius, actually we can pick you up from your hotel, from your house, whatever the case may be, and then bring you back after you come back to the US. And we do this on several other locations around the world, including the Gulf countries, including Europe. We also provide this black car service to those passengers. So in a nutshell, this is Turkish Airlines, and it's much faster than what I would have done with the PowerPoint, so it's better this way maybe. If you have any questions, please let me know. Last but not least, I want to thank Nepal Tourism, Ambassador, Consul General, and Pata, and my dear friend Jobert here, who is actually occupied with his phone right now, but I know he does nonetheless. So I thank you for having me here today. And if you have any questions on Turkish Airlines, I'm here. If you have questions afterwards, this guy knows where I live. So you can always reach out to Jobert and he will get in touch with me. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for having me again.
Thank you, sir. Now we have our guest speaker, Dr. Sakraf. Let me introduce. He's the CEO of Mountain Legacy International, the non-profit that administers Sir Edmund Hillary Mountain. These both institutions recognize the humanitarian work of Sir Edmund on behalf of mountain community and landscape and encourage its stimulation. We are running out of time, so now I welcome Dr. Sakraf sir for his remarks.
So, thank you, and I'll start. The title of my talk, which I know people don't usually give, is Nepal Tourism, a Legacy of Reimagination, just to orient you. There are many beautiful countries. There are many countries with fascinating cultures. There are many inexpensive destinations. But Nepal has another asset of unparalleled value. It has stories, engaging stories, and stories that are told around the world and draw people to visit and participate in a way that doesn't happen elsewhere. In 1951, Eric Shipton brought back the first convincing photographs of Yeti footprints in the snow on Menlungsay Glacier on the north face of Rawaling Valley. Whether fact or fiction, the numerous reports of Yeti, or abominable snowmen, enhanced the charisma of Nepal as a land of mystery and possibility, and drew quite a few investigators, including myself. Another story with great drawing power was Peter Matheson's book, The Snow Leopard. In 1973, the great biologist George Schaller invited Matheson to trek with him from Pokhara west to Shegompa Crystal Monastery in Dolpo. Schaller's purpose was to study the blue sheep, or baral, but he also hoped to see the elusive snow leopard. Matheson's account combines exquisite observations of the hallucinatory landscape and ecosystems with hard-nosed discoveries about himself. The book was a huge success and inspired thousands of young people to converge on Nepal for their own voyages of self-discovery. But as far as Nepal's tourism industry is concerned, the greatest story was the success of Sir John Hunt's 1953 British Everest expedition. Before the news broke about the success, Tenzing and Hillary were just members of a large expedition, not even on the first assault team. As summiters of the world's highest peak, Ed Hillary and Tenzing Norgay had their lives transformed overnight. They became unimaginably famous celebrities. Previously a beekeeper by profession and amateur climber when chores permitted, Sir Edmund Hillary became a professional adventurer, explorer, speaker, and goodwill ambassador for Sears Roebuck camping equipment and for World Book Encyclopedia. More broadly, the conquest of Everest generated a worldwide wave of optimism and enthusiasm for physical adventure and transformed the formerly obscure nation of Nepal to the most glamorous destination in the world. Oddly, it was the epilogue of the monumental success on Everest that had the more enduring impact on Nepal. In 1960, Hillary fielded a scientific expedition on behalf of World Book. Half the time would be spent looking for the Yeti, and half on a climb, in the course of which Hillary's team would study the effects of altitude on human physiology. No Yetis were caught, but Hillary learned that Kumjung Gompa monastery had something they believed was a Yeti scalp. Hillary wanted to borrow it to get a scientific analysis. As part of the agreement, he was to return the next year and build a school. It turned out that this kind of project was something Hillary enjoyed greatly, and he kept returning year after year for new projects. Much like the mountain climbs, these development projects entailed planning, organization, fundraising, physical exertion, bureaucratic and meteorological obstacles, comradeship, risk of failure, and a great deal of satisfaction at a job well done, if there was success. Hillary and his people created 27 schools, 2 hospitals, multiple bridges, water pipelines, 3 airstrips, and other infrastructure. They started ambitious reforestation projects, defeated a smallpox epidemic, lobbied for the creation of Sagarmatha National Park, now a World Heritage Site, and an asset that powers Nepal's tourism sector. Lukla Airport, now Tenzing Hillary Airport, which Hillary undertook just in order to facilitate the delivery of construction material for the Kunde Hospital, became a catalyst for economic opportunity. Solokhumbu, the Sherpa homeland, was jump-started out of the Middle Ages into the 20th century. Countless visitors have looked around, marveled at Hillary's Promethean impact, and wondered, what should I be doing with my life? Many set up their own nonprofits in Nepal or went home to work in their own communities. And the stories they told inspired more to come to Nepal. It makes sense that adventurers like Vanessa O'Brien would reimagine themselves in the context of their ultimate adventure. That's part of the underlying construct of adventure itself. You set off to find the Golden Fleece, or recover Helen from Troy, or find the Golden Grail. You slip into the other world, defeat a few dragons, rescue a maiden, come home, and everybody wants you to be king, or run the kingdom anyways. To be clear, however, it is not only adventurers or mountain climbers like Vanessa who reimagine themselves in Nepal. My own life trajectory bounced around a lot due to my repeated visits. I became a vegetarian within the first month, started teaching English in order to get my visa extended, and ended up working in tourism development rather than Yeti affairs. In 1999, I set up an online Pashmina export business for a Nepali friend who wanted to convert his trekking gear shop to a Pashmina weaving workshop. And I'm pretty sure my wife married me in order to have an excuse to come to Nepal. So what is it that provokes self-reimagination in Nepal? First of all, whether you climb Everest or not, the entire country is otherworldly. Not just the physical country, but the cultural and spiritual are beyond belief. You see and experience things you've only read about in adventure stories. So you're primed for the big reveal. At the very least, you can lose a lot of weight just by trekking, and your Instagrams and pro pics are going to get mad likes. Secondly, everything is in flux. There may be a lot of poor people, but the level of upward mobility is unusual. My friend Setam, who was selling peanut butter and toilet paper in his mother's little grocery store when I first met him in Namche Bazaar, now owns Zanskar Hotel. Namche Bazaar itself, which had no flush toilets and only one lodge with electricity in 1975, is a ritzy town now with internet billiards and German bakeries. There may be frustrations, but Nepal just feels like a place where things are possible. Third, you meet people. The first time I was in Nepal, I ran into Ed Hillary wandering Freak Street in his burgundy slacks and red sport coat. I didn't approach him, but he was certainly approachable. Flying to Lukla the first time, I was greeted in the airport lounge by Tenzing Norgay. I didn't recognize him at first. We chatted a bit in Tibetan, and he told me his mother was from Tibet and his home was in Tami village. If you stay in PK's lodge in Namche, you can see photos of Jimmy Carter, and you can eat one of the same cinnamon buns he enjoyed. If there's someone in Nepal you want to talk to, you probably can. Even if you're a nobody, you start feeling like somebody, and soon enough you begin thinking about some really great projects you could pull off. In Nepal, that's totally normal. The odd thing is that it's totally viral. I dragged my daughter to Nepal when she was 9, and it completely changed her life. In 3 weeks, she went from a timid kid who had never crossed our street by herself back home, to a self-possessed young lady who carried all our money, handled bakshish for the beggars, and ran downstairs every night just before 10 to get my Everest beer and her Snicker bar from the tiny little cute store on Freak Street before it closed. This year she started college, and of course she told her boyfriend Noah Reifenheiser all about Nepal, so now he has started a project to introduce Ultimate Frisbee to Nepal. The project is called Ultimate Destination Nepal. Noah's project has the potential to promote physical fitness, gender equity, teamwork, and happiness among Nepal's youth. It could also generate economic opportunities if Ultimate Frisbee succeeds in Nepal, as it is doing in other countries. Frisbee offers a way for host communities to interact with tourists, whether transient trekkers or visiting international teams. Person-to-person contact is fundamental to creating goodwill, and that is what creates opportunities for personal and collective growth. It is fitting that we observe today the 75th anniversary of Nepal-USA diplomatic relations. Sir Edmund praised American emphasis on promoting goodwill through highly original programs like Sister Cities, USAID, and most notably the Peace Corps. It was in fact the Peace Corps that directly inspired Hillary's own development assistance project. And he said, "The basic fact is that people create goodwill. Money cannot do it alone." That is how Hillary explained American assistance as well as his own development work. With goodwill, Hillary and his friends changed lives and moved mountains. This legacy of adventure, comradeship, and reimagination is Nepal's gift to the world. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I want to invite our keynote speaker of this program, Miss Vanessa O'Brien. I have some notes regarding her. Please allow me to. Miss Vanessa O'Brien is a British-American mountaineer, explorer, author, advocate, and speaker. She is the first woman to reach extremes on land, sea, and air, the explorer's extreme trifecta. She recently was in space with suborbital space flight. She is also the author of To the Greatest Heights. She has held 5 Guinness World Records in 6. Okay, I have mentioned 5. Sorry, I apologize. In fastest, deepest, farthest, and oldest category. First woman to reach Earth's highest Mount Everest and deepest point, Challenger Deep. Fastest woman to climb the 7 summits in 295 days. First person to reach the farthest Chimborazo and nearest to Earth's core. First woman to complete the 4 Poles Challenge, Mount Everest, Challenger Deep, and skiing the last degree to both the North and South Poles. First female to set a speed record to complete the Explorer's Grand Slam, 7 summits plus skiing the last degree to North and South Poles in 11 months. The 8th female to do so. Summited 5 of 14 8,000-meter peaks, including become the first American or British female to successfully summit K2, the second tallest mountain, and many other titles and recognition. Our keynote speaker will be speaking on reaching my greatest heights in Nepal. Please, ma'am, you have floor.
Thank you very much to the Honorable Council, who's moving but is now there. Our distinguished guests, sponsors, and friends of Nepal, it's a pleasure to be here. While others will speak of Nepal's hospitality and culture, I am here to tell a tale of the ultimate pilgrimage, one that no highland trekker should miss, and that is Nepal. Nepal has the largest concentration of towering mountains, deep gorges, and breathtaking glaciers, which, once seen on a trek, can offer serenity and peace unlike no others. I am who I am because I trekked in Nepal. Who would have imagined then, an unemployed businesswoman, me, attempting Mount Everest, only to find herself a decade later humbled by what the mountains in Nepal would teach her. I would not be who I am had I not trekked in Nepal. That is because mountaineering is primarily trekking. Trekking is available to the young, the old, the rich, the poor, the wise, and the foolish. Any nationality can participate, and they do. Trekking is one of the best forms of exercise, and you can choose whatever level of difficulty suits you. From a 2-hour stroll in the Kathmandu Valley to the Lashi Tapsa Pass between Khumbu and Rolling, which Ed Hillary described as one of the most formidable mountaineering challenges in his life. Being good for the heart, trekking is also good for the soul, as friendships are formed and limitations are tested. Throughout a journey, one never knows whose feet will blister, whose cough becomes congested, whose lips get sunburnt, whose Nalgene bottle runs out of water, or who will be in most need of help. At the turn of a trail, the strongest can switch places with the weakest, and anyone can find themselves playing the part of a good Samaritan, just like that, by someone misstepping sideways on their foot. Such is the beauty of a trek, the great leveler, the ability for anyone to be vulnerable, to share one's experiences, hopes, fears, and dreams, knowing that each journey is unique, just as everyone gets wet in the rain. New paths ahead open doors, while other paths ahead close chapters. Like a river flowing towards an open sea, we can only flow in one direction. We cannot go back in time. Nature is always teaching us about ourselves, and the more we are willing to endure, the more we can heal. Our vulnerabilities become our strengths, and any sacrifices we make will be repaid. When we trek, we understand that Mother Nature is in charge. And as our teacher, we learn from her the importance of having patience and to only focus on the things we can control. In life, we cannot fail unless we give up. Next time we think of famous treks, like the Camino de Santiago, with its 2 UNESCO heritage sites, or even the Appalachian Trail, I want us to think of a third trekking trail instead. With Nepal's land made up of 75% of mountain terrain, Nepal should be the first place that comes to mind when we Google the ultimate trekking pilgrimage. The ultimate pilgrimage for the highland trekker has to be the Great Himalayan Trail, stretching from Kanchenjunga in the east to Hilsa in the west. The Great Himalayan Trail has 2 options: a 1,700-kilometer high trail, which takes up to 150 days, or a lower trail, which takes a good 100 days. Having solidified some of my best friendships in Nepal, gained wisdom about patience and control while hiking in the mountains, and reimagined myself to become the explorer I am today, I hope you will join me in reimagining yourself in Nepal. Jai Nepal.
Hello, distinguished guests. We are come to close to our program. If you have any queries regarding this, you may ask question, raise hand to our speakers and others.
Okay, now we're fed, now we're full. The room is open for questioning, except one thing, no political issues. So, all our speakers are all around. They're still present right now. So if you have any questions, please feel free while dessert is being served. But before we let you go, I'd like to have a last word from the Consul General of Nepal. And I thank him for allowing PATA New York chapter to be part of this endeavor. Remember, you will never learn or you will never know what Nepal is or how Nepal is or what come, reimagine yourself in Nepal. Konjen?
I'll be happy to respond if there are some queries, questions, or some clarifications. And if I can, I'll try to respond myself. If not, I'll resort to our great speakers who have already tested themselves with the greatest heights, as well as to the various challenges of Nepal, including the 15 times returnee to Nepal, Dr. Syed Shikrov, who knows far better than me about Nepal, the culture, the cuisine, the people, and various mountains. I have not been able to trek so many treks that he might have taken. Therefore, please, if you have some queries, as the dessert is being served. Yeah.
Dr. Adal Hussain, Executive Producer of World Liberty TV Travel and Tourism Channels. First of all, this Nepal tourism needed to be done very early yet, but it's very important that people go and visit Nepal. As the chairman of Patra mentioned, you have to be there, feel it, and be there on time. You have some great speakers from the State Department, our honored guest, which we had very privilege of sitting, and Professor Saf there, who really put everything in a nutshell. To me, he's a believer. I'm very excited myself, and the good lawyer here who's been sponsoring and being part of this convinced me. So I look forward to going to Nepal very soon and sharing it with many people and getting them over there, because this is long overdue. It's going to be one of the destinations of the world. So I'll rest right there, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for your very complimentary remarks. We look forward to continue our partnership. I'm very happy to hear that you are also planning a trip to Nepal, especially a fam trip. And if you please let us know more in details, we'll definitely work with the Nepal Tourism Board, who coordinates events, who coordinates trips and internal various kind of connections, and we'll be happy to do so. Thank you.
So I'm the PATA Vice Chairman and very happy to be here today. So I just wanted to say what I had said to the ambassador, who I was very honored to sit next to, was that I love what Bhutan has done, which is to focus on quality of tourism, not quantity. I'm in the tourist business. We're an Asia-only tour operator. And so I was saying that if I were Nepal, then I would sort of follow in the footsteps of Bhutan. So Bhutan is charging a minimum of $200 per person per day as a government fee to every tourist. So that's keeping out the backpackers, that's keeping out the low-end tourists, but it's helping the country. So that's just my personal opinion, but I just think that, I think it's in the best interests of Nepal, instead of being overrun with what we used to call hippies and backpackers. So I don't know what your opinion is of that, but that's my opinion. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Pata Vice Chairperson and CEO of Remote Lands, Catherine. Thank you for so closely observing the tourism situation in Nepal, and also finding out that Bhutan has done very well in terms of their tourism promotion. Nepal is effortful to do everything for the best interest of the travelers, as well as the people and the business involved in tourism sector. As I don't see at the right time to answer in definitive way what the government will do, particularly to your suggestions, but I assure you that your suggestion we will communicate that if we can make one particular way of facilitating tourists with one kind of card or one kind of package rather than having multiple ones, or keeping doors or gates at every time or every entry place. I think that would facilitate, and I'll update when we hear something new, because we, the Consulate General of Nepal or the Foreign Ministry, they do not themselves make decisions on this. The stakeholder ministries, the stakeholder agencies, and also their collaboration, they help decisions, and I think your suggestions is deeply appreciated. Thank you. If I do not see any more queries, I think I'll close. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for giving your most valuable time today to Nepal and to reimagine yourself in Nepal. I think while being here and listening to the great speakers we had today, you must have felt something about Nepal, you must have learned something about Nepal, about the Nepali culture, about the potentials that Nepal offers. We tried to present some of the glimpses of Nepal through some video clips, but that is not the only story, because Nepal is so diverse. The cultural diversity, the natural diversity, and the cuisine, and the story of our long legacy, of our history, and the people and the civilizations. Many of the places that were once forbidden, like very close to the northern part, are now open. Yeah, after some time, because we are gradually, as we are making some access roads, as we are making some facilities, like health facilities and some communications, we are opening up, because there are still road access problems, communication problems, and various other problems. Therefore, we are gradually doing so. Nepal offers many opportunities for the visitors. The best thing is the people are friendly. They serve the travelers from the bottom of their heart, whatever they can. Because we are not a rich country, we are one of the least developed country. We are trying to make our infrastructure better. We are trying to promote jobs, economic growth, and we are trying to make access roads, and we are trying to make our tourism safe. Therefore, if you go to remote places, sometimes you may not find very proper communication system or facilitated rooms, but what you will find there is, you'll find very close to the nature, the naturalness, the beauty, and the people's close heart. And that we offer, and that is real. And with this, I would like to welcome to Nepal, and that is I have to offer. Before I conclude, I'll let, I see the hand.
Okay, so, sorry, I'm Catherine Heald from Remote Lands. So we're an Asia tour operator, but I have to say that what I'm personally very excited about is that Chintamani is opening in the Mustang region. So we're going to have some ultra luxe, like Amman level lodges in the Mustang region. And so I think that's going to really make a big change for Nepal, just like what back in Bhutan when Amman opened, that made a really big difference. And Chintamani is fantastic. They're the same level as Amman, and so opening this series of lodges in the Mustang region will actually bring in a whole new level of tourism.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we are opening their lodges, and fortunately, one of those persons who are opening the new lodges is also a New Yorker, who was
Jason Friedman.
no, one of them from here, the Nepali diaspora community. He is to the vice president from non-resident Nepali community, and he is one of the person who has opened a very big lodge there, and they have also established some statues, and in that sense they are doing very great, and they are connecting these two countries. That is how the people connection is very powerful. And I was saying that this is something that we are offering, but the best thing is that we are very safe. We care for the travelers, and people, those who travel to Nepal, they have returned to Nepal many times. They have taken their families, their friends. That means they love Nepal. And that is, everyone returns happy from various perspectives. That's what I used to say. And from the perspective, as I mentioned in my earlier statement, that the tourism growth from the United States, like something very close to 80% of recovery in 2022, that was way high compared to other countries, speaks volumes that the US travelers are giving good heart to Nepal, to Nepali people, and this growth we want to continue and achieve higher growth. And with this reimagination concept, I'm hopeful that everyone will feel that they have something to know about Nepal, something to learn from, as well as personal growth, as well as communal growth, as well as growth of international community in terms of our relations, our connections, and so on. Thank you so much for your valuable time, and I'm very keen to hear from you, your friends, your family, and your connections, how you feel about Nepal. And I hope you'll share the story, what you learn, and we look forward to receiving your continuous support in our efforts so that it is a collective promotion. Therefore we say, together for tourism and together for shared prosperity. And I thank you, every one of you, and have a good day, and wish you all the best ahead. Thank you.